Before this day begins, before you check your phone, before you allow the world to tell you who you are, pause. Right now, in this moment, you stand at the doorway of a new reality. What if I told you that abundance is not something you chase, but something you remember? What if success is not earned through struggle, but accepted through assumption? What if money is already moving toward you, waiting only for your inner agreement? For the next 20 minutes, do not listen casually. Listen as someone who understands that consciousness creates reality. Listen as someone who knows that what you repeatedly feel to be true becomes your life. This is not motivation. This is not wishful thinking. This is a decision. A decision to assume wealth. A decision to assume success. A decision to assume that everything is aligning in your favor. If you give yourself fully to this message, if you feel it, not just hear it, your world cannot remain the same. Close your eyes if you can. Breathe slowly. And step into the version of yourself who already has it all. Abundance, success, and money are not coming. They are responding. And today you choose what they respond to. There is one principle that governs your entire experience of life, whether you are aware of it or not. What you assume to be true about yourself and your world becomes your reality. Not occasionally, not randomly, but consistently. The circumstances you face today are not accidents of fate, nor are they punishments or rewards handed down by an external force. They are reflections, mirrors, of the assumptions you have accepted as facts within your own consciousness. An assumption, when persisted in, hardens into fact. This means that what you repeatedly feel to be true about your finances, your success, your opportunities, and your worth will objectify itself in your world. If you assume that money is difficult to obtain, life will faithfully produce situations that confirm that belief. If you assume that success comes only through struggle, your path will be filled with unnecessary resistance. But if you assume that abundance flows easily, that opportunities are always aligning, that you are favored and supported, the outer world must conform to that inner conviction. Your world does not create your beliefs. Your beliefs create your world. Most people lie from appearances. They look at their bank account and decide how to feel. They observe their current job and determine their level of worth. They check their circumstances before choosing their state of mind. But this is living backwards. The outer world is the effect. Your consciousness is the cause. When you allow the effect to dictate the cause, you remain trapped in repetition. To change your life, you must change what you accept as true, independent of what your senses report. This does not require force. It does not require struggle. It requires decision, a quiet, firm decision about who you are. If you decide that you are prosperous, begin thinking from prosperity. If you decide that you are successful, begin reacting from success. If you decide that money flows to you, begin feeling the relief and confidence of financial stability now. The key is feeling. An assumption is not merely a thought. It is a thought accepted as reality. When you think from a state often enough, it becomes natural. When it becomes natural, it becomes your dwelling place. And when it becomes your dwelling place, life reflects it automatically. Do not ask how it will happen. The moment you assume the end, the unseen forces of reality begin rearranging themselves. People move. Circumstances shift. Ideas come. Opportunities emerge. Not because you forced them, but because your assumptions set the direction. You have been doing this your entire life, whether consciously or unconsciously. Every repeated pattern you see is the result of a repeated inner assumption. The good news is this: if assumptions created your present reality, new assumptions can create your future reality. So this morning, choose deliberately. Assume that you are always provided for. Assume that your efforts prosper. Assume that everything is unfolding in your favor. When doubt appears, do not fight it aggressively. Simply return to your chosen state. Persist gently, but firmly. Persistence is what transforms imagination into experience. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is creative power. What you accept inwardly as true will demand outward expression. The world has no choice but to echo your dominant assumption. If you wish to experience abundance, assume abundance as your identity. If you wish to experience success, assume success as your self-concept. Do not wait for evidence before you believe. Believe first, and let the evidence follow. The moment you understand that your assumption creates your reality, you stop reacting to life and begin directing it. You stop hoping and begin knowing. You stop wishing and begin choosing. And once you choose, truly choose, the world begins to move in response. There is a profound difference between living toward a desire and living from its fulfillment. Most people spend their lives reaching, striving, hoping, and waiting. They wake up each morning thinking about what they lack. They work toward success, save toward wealth, and pray toward opportunity. But as long as you are moving toward something, you are silently affirming that you do not yet have it. And what you consistently affirm as not yet yours remains out of reach. To live from the end means to assume that your desire is already fulfilled. It means you no longer identify as the one who wants. You identify as the one who has. You do not think of abundance as something arriving in the future. You think from the position of already being abundant. You do not imagine yourself becoming successful someday. You feel what it is like to already be successful now. This shift is subtle, yet it changes everything. When you live towards something, you feel effort, distance, and time. When you live from the end, you feel completion, certainty, and calm. There is no desperation in the fulfilled state. There is no anxiety. There is only a quiet knowing. Imagine the version of you who already has financial freedom. How does that version think? How does that version walk into a room? How does that version respond to minor setbacks? That version is not worried. That version is not questioning whether it will happen. That version is secure because it already is. To live from the end is to occupy that version now. You do not need the outer proof first. You need the inner shift first. Feel the relief of debts paid. Feel the confidence of steady income. Feel the gratitude of overflowing opportunity. Let those feelings become familiar. When the feeling becomes natural, you have entered the state of fulfillment. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you are conscious of being. If you are conscious of being someone who is trying to get there, life will keep you in the process of trying. If you are conscious of being someone who's already there, life will organize itself to mirror that completion. This is why impatience delays manifestation. Impatience is evidence that you believe it has not happened yet. Fulfillment carries patience because it feels done. Living from the end does not mean ignoring action. It means that any action you take flows from certainty rather than lack. You no longer act to get success. You act as someone who already expects success. You no longer work to earn abundance. You work as someone who knows abundance is inevitable. Notice how different that feels. One state feels heavy and pressured. The other feels powerful and natural. When you wake each morning, instead of asking, "How will this happen?" ask, "How would I feel if it were already done?" Then remain in that feeling as long as possible. Return to it throughout the day. Let it guide your reactions. Let it shape your inner conversations. If a challenge appears, do not drop back into the state of the seeker. Remain in the state of the fulfilled one. Ask yourself, how would the successful version of me see this? The answer will always be calm, confident, and solution-focused. Time collapses when you live from the end. The delay disappears when you stop measuring progress and start embodying completion. The more natural the fulfilled state feels, the faster the outer world conforms. You are not waiting for your desire. Your desire is waiting for you to accept it as already yours. So stop reaching, stop chasing, stop hoping, become. Become the wealthy one, become the successful one, become the abundant one. And once you become it inwardly, the outer world will have no choice but to catch up. One of the greatest tests of faith in your own creative power is the ability to ignore present appearances. The outer world will often contradict your new assumption in the beginning. Circumstances may seem unchanged. The bank balance may look the same. Opportunities may not immediately appear. But this is not evidence that nothing is happening. It is simply the shadow of past assumptions playing itself out. The visible world is delayed. It reflects what you previously believed, not what you are choosing now. If you react emotionally to current appearances, you return to the old state. And when you return to the old state, you continue reproducing the same results. This is why so many people feel stuck. They attempt to assume abundance for a few moments. But the moment they check their reality and see no change, they fall back into doubt. That doubt becomes the dominant assumption, and the cycle repeats. You must understand something clearly. Appearances are effects, not causes. They have no creative power. They cannot dictate your future unless you give them meaning. The only creative force is your inner state, your assumption of being. When you decide that you are prosperous, the outer world may still show traces of lack for a while. That is simply momentum. Just as a large ship takes time to change direction after the wheel has turned, your reality may take time to reflect your new assumption. But the moment you changed inwardly, the direction was set. Do not dig up the seed every day to see if it is growing. If you plant a seed in the soil and then constantly disturb it, you delay its growth. In the same way, when you assume wealth but continually question, worry, and look for proof, you interfere with the natural unfolding. Faith is not blind belief. It is loyalty to your chosen state despite temporary contradictions. Ignore what denies your new identity. If a bill arrives unexpectedly, do not think, see, nothing has changed. Instead, remain in the assumption, I am always supported. This is resolving itself. If someone doubts your goals, do not absorb their fear. Stay anchored in your inner certainty. The world is reflecting your past, not predicting your future. The key is emotional discipline. You do not suppress fear forcefully. You simply refuse to dwell in it. When doubt arises, gently return to your chosen state. Remind yourself, this is only the echo of who I used to be. I now choose differently. Over time, the new state becomes stronger than the old reaction. What you consistently accept as true will eventually dominate your experience. It may feel unnatural at first to ignore appearances. Your senses are trained to believe what they see. But remember, what you see was once unseen. Every condition in your life began as an assumption. Therefore, you are not denying reality, you are reshaping it. Do not argue with circumstances. Do not fight them. Indifference is more powerful than resistance. When you stop reacting emotionally to lack, you remove its fuel. When you stop fearing delay, you collapse delay. Persistence in your inner conviction is what transforms possibility into fact. The person who succeeds is not the one who never faces contradiction, but the one who refuses to let contradiction redefine their identity. If you assume you are financially free, remain that person inwardly, even if the outer world takes time to catch up. If you assume you are successful, think and feel from that success even when challenges arise. Eventually, appearances must change. They have no choice. The outer world is a mirror, and a mirror cannot resist the image placed before it. So today, make this decision. I will no longer allow temporary appearances to dictate permanent beliefs. I will no longer let yesterday's reflections determine tomorrow's experience. Stay faithful to your new assumption and watch how the shadows shift. Most people believe money is something you earn, success is something you achieve, and abundance is something you acquire. But this way of thinking keeps these things outside of you, distant, conditional, and dependent on circumstances. The truth is far more empowering. Money and success are not external possessions. They are states of consciousness. Before money appears in your hands, it must first exist in your awareness. Before success is recognized by others, It must be accepted within yourself. Every outer condition begins as an inner identity. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are conscious of being. If you are conscious of being someone who struggles financially, you will continue to experience struggle, even if temporary relief appears. If you are conscious of being overlooked or unsuccessful, life will present situations that reinforce that identity. But if you become conscious of being prosperous, if you accept wealth as part of who you are, your outer world will begin reflecting that shift. Consciousness is the true currency. Think about it, two people can perform the same action, yet receive different outcomes. One operates from confidence and expectation, the other operates from doubt and fear. The difference is not effort, it is identity. The one who sees themselves as successful moves with certainty. That certainty influences decisions, timing, opportunities, and even how others respond. When you understand that money is a state, you stop chasing it. You stop seeing it as scarce. Instead, you begin to think, feel, and act as someone for whom money is natural. You feel supported, you feel capable, you feel deserving, and those feelings quietly guide your behavior in subtle but powerful ways. A person who is conscious of being wealthy does not panic over temporary setbacks. They do not define themselves by a single month's income. They carry an inner stability that says, I am always provided for. That stability creates clarity. Clarity creates wise action. Wise action creates results. It all begins within. Success works the same way. If you believe success is rare or reserved for a select few, you unconsciously limit yourself. But if you assume that success is your natural expression, that whatever you commit to prospers, you begin moving through life differently. You speak differently. You expect differently. Expectation is powerful. When you expect money to flow, you notice opportunities others ignore. When you expect growth, you see possibilities where others see obstacles. Your state of consciousness filters your reality. It determines what you perceive and how you interpret events. This is why inner transformation must precede outer transformation. Do not try to force success externally while internally identifying as lacking. Instead, adopt the identity of someone who is already successful. Ask yourself, how does this version of me think about money? How does this version handle challenges? How does this version speak about their future? Then begin embodying that now. The shift may feel subtle at first, but repetition makes it natural. The more you return to the state of financial confidence and success, the more familiar it becomes. Eventually, it feels like the real you. And once it feels real within, the outer world has no choice but to mirror it. Money is not the cause of wealth, consciousness is. Success is not the cause of confidence, identity is. So instead of chasing numbers, chase alignment. Instead of obsessing over results, cultivate the state. When you stabilize in the consciousness of abundance, you will notice something remarkable. Opportunities seem to find you. Ideas come effortlessly. Connections happen organically. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. And when you change your state of consciousness, your world inevitably follows. There is one quality that separates those who merely wish from those who manifest. Persistence, not force, not struggle, not constant effort, but steady, unwavering persistence in the assumption of the wish fulfilled. Anyone can feel powerful for a moment. Anyone can declare abundance when they are inspired. But the one who sees results is the one who remains faithful to the chosen state even when nothing appears to be happening. Persistence is loyalty to your inner decision. The world will test your assumption. There may be days when circumstances look unchanged. There may be moments when doubt whispers, maybe this isn't working. There may be delays that tempt you to return to old thinking. But every time you return to your chosen state, instead of surrendering to fear, you strengthen it. Every time you refuse to react negatively to appearances, you deepen your new identity. Persistence is not repetition of words. It is repetition of being. You can affirm wealth all day, but if you inwardly feel insecure, the insecurity is what persists. True persistence means returning to the feeling of already having. It means re-entering the state of abundance over and over until it becomes your natural dwelling place. Think of it as training your consciousness. For years, you may have practiced thoughts of lack without realizing it. You rehearsed worry. You repeated doubt. You expected struggle. Those patterns became automatic. Now you are choosing something different. And like any new pattern, it strengthens with repetition. When you persist long enough, the new state feels more real than the old one. At first, assuming wealth might feel artificial. Acting from confidence might feel unfamiliar. But if you continue gently, calmly, consistently, it becomes easier. Eventually, the idea of being supported feels normal. The idea of success feels obvious. The idea of abundance feels natural. That is when the shift becomes permanent. Most people fail not because the principle does not work, but because they stop too soon. They assume for a week, then check for results. They feel inspired for a few days, then revert to doubt when nothing changes immediately. But manifestation is not about emotional highs. It is about steady conviction. A seed does not sprout the day it is planted. Yet once planted, growth is inevitable if undisturbed. Your assumption is the seed. Persistence is the protection. Do not measure progress by what you see. Measure it by how stable you feel within. If you notice that you react less to fear, that you recover from doubt more quickly, that you feel calmer about money, that is progress. The outer evidence will follow inner stability. When you persist, something remarkable happens. Your reactions change. Your conversations change. Your decisions change. You begin moving in harmony with your assumption. And without strain, opportunities align. Doors open naturally. People respond differently. It feels effortless because persistence has made the new state automatic. This is the secret. Whatever state you return to most often becomes your reality. If you persist in lack, lack persists. If you persist in abundance, abundance persists. The law is impartial. It simply reflects what is most consistent within you. So decide today that you will not quit on your new identity. No matter what appears, return to the feeling of already having. No matter what doubts arise, return to certainty. No matter how long it takes, remain faithful. Because the one who persists wins. And when persistence becomes your habit, abundance becomes your experience. Now feel what has shifted within you. Notice the calm certainty. Notice the quiet confidence. Notice that something inside you no longer feels like it is waiting. This is the state of the fulfilled one. Carry this feeling with you today. Walk differently. Think differently. React differently. Not because you are trying to force change, but because you know something has already changed within. Do not look for proof. Be the proof. The world will rearrange itself in ways you cannot predict. Opportunities will appear naturally. Ideas will come effortlessly. Doors will open at the right time. Money will flow in expected and unexpected ways, not because you chased it, but because you assumed it. Persist in this state daily. Return to it every morning. Let it become your new normal. When abundance feels ordinary to you, it must express itself. Remember this, you are not hoping for a better future. You are selecting it. You are not waiting for success. You are embodying it. And what you consistently embody becomes inevitable. Abundance is yours. Success is yours. Wealth is yours. And it is unfolding now. Thank you for spending these moments strengthening your inner world. If this message resonated with you, stay consistent. Return to it every morning for the next 21 days and observe the shift within and then the shift without. If you believe in creating your reality consciously, support this mission by liking this video and subscribing to Neville Goddard Wisdom so you never miss a daily reminder of who you truly are. Share this with someone who needs to remember their power today. And most importantly, never go back to doubting what you have now decided to assume. I'll see you in the next message.